Good morning, good evening, everybody. I would like to spend this video talking about some good news in regards to immigration. We could always use some good news in regards to immigration and deportations and other things. This will be sort of an amalgamation of a few things, because I've noticed this account, this Prowler account here, he's actually done a very good job of going around and compiling all of this data on the deportation front that the rest of us may have overlooked or too busy to really look into. But I'd figured I would give my reaction to some of it here. So, April 9th, immigration work site raids are being reported in rural areas recently. The narrative that the administration is preaching is not translating here on the ground, a farm lobbyist said, indicating that the admin is arresting more workers without announcing it. So, if you recall I think it was like a month or two ago, Trump came out and said that we don't really want to touch the rural workers, the agricultural workers. And a lot of people said, well, wait a minute, why not? I I was skeptical at the time, but what I think is going on here, because why would they report this if it wasn't happening? I I think that what's going on is that the admin is trying to tone down their rhetoric and do things more quietly instead of having things be front page news every day, which, in my opinion, is actually the way they ought to be doing about it. I think that the performative show that was put on for us in certain places was a detriment. I mean, this isn't to say that we should be covering mass deportations at all or ICE operations. I just think that it should be front page news every day. This isn't a jab at Bovino. I actually like Greg Bovino, and I think he should have stayed on the job and stayed in Minnesota. But I do think that the administration had to figure out a way to do these things more quietly than they were, because the problem with the massive televised shows is that you could easily get leftists to show up and impede, which is what happened in Minnesota. Essentially, everybody knew where people were going, and it wasn't impossible to get things done, but it made it a bit more difficult because then you had to deal with these idiots going around and doing stupid stuff that ultimately got themselves killed. But I think this is a good thing. We need to target agricultural areas, especially. I mean, people will be like, "Well, what about who we could get to pick those vegetables?" Well, Americans can do the job. They've been doing the job for years, and they will continue to do the job in the years to come. Like, how are we that? I mean, I know how we're that in that position, but it's like, what were we doing before we had Americans to pick the crops? Like, it's not that difficult. But yes, we need more of this. Um, and this is actually right here. This person here is actually saying what I've been thinking. You can lie to normies so that their bourgeoisie sensibilities aren't offended, then do whatever you want anyway. Leftists have been doing this for decades, and they've had a lot of success. Very true. And an example of that, I would say, is if you look at the governor of Virginia, Spanberger, who ran as a sort of moderate, and yet now you have her do is I banning like Confederate memorabilia on license plates, and also trying to enact more gun control laws. This is the thing they've been doing. They've been running like, no, I don't believe in these freaking child transsexual surgeries or massive illegal immigration. Like Joe Biden, for example, he didn't run on opening the border and letting a billion people in, but that's what he did. He just didn't. He just didn't upkeep the border. And he didn't run on like, oh, let's let all these transsexual freaks run around in the White House. And yet, lo and behold, like a year or so into his presidency, you had like transgenders partying half naked outside on the White House lawn. Look it up. That's the thing that happened. But yeah, it's like the liberals will run on these like, what are you talking about? My platform isn't that insane, and then paint you as the insane person for pointing out the insanity of the liberal platform, get people to believe them. Then they get elected into office and they're like, oh yeah, I'm actually going to do this XYZ stuff that I said I wasn't going to do, or I just omitted. And yeah, thank you guys for voting for me. That's what they do. But not only do we have this, again, this is all gonna be Prowler right here. This is I recommend you follow if you want updates on like deportations and whatnot, and get through the noise, because I know there's a lot of people on the online right who are blackpilled at the moment are saying, well, mass deportations aren't happening. I would follow this guy because he's giving graphs, he's giving data, he's giving charts, and he is trying to explain what these mean in a way that doesn't. It's just like he's doing a lot of research that a lot of people just don't have the time to do, and I think it's a good thing, and this is honestly why I've been, even though I'm not like I'm not a MAGA. I don't know why they call it a MAGA cultist. I could, but the reason why I've been defending Trump through a lot of this is because I do think that he has made a lot of progress on the immigration front that we can't see, or at least we aren't seeing immediately. But long down the road will be it will be very effective, and that's why I'm still defending him. I know a lot of people aren't because they don't really see that, but I'm going to until that changes. I'm still going to defend him in this area. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he's done wrong that I don't like, but my top issue personally is the immigration issue, the demographic issue, and I believe that so far with all the data that I've seen, he's doing a good job on that front, even if you can't see it. So now, keeping up with the growth of law enforcement cooperation with ICE under Trump, we are now at 1,640 active agreements in 39 states, the greatest increases of the task force model, which allows local and state police to act as auxiliary ICE agents in their jurisdiction. This is good. This is good because we need the cooperation of local police forces in order to help out ICE with these deportation operations. Because here's the thing, even though ICE it has been supercharged by the budget they got in the one big beautiful bill, they were never meant to be a what's it called, a giant organization that was going to just do all the work of this deportation business. They were initially made to do targeted pinpoint where the illegal aliens are, or hey, the local police department will call and it's like, hey, we got a legal alien here. Can you send somebody to come pick him up? And then ICE would be like, yes, we'll be there right away. And then they'd send people to pick him up, and then they would be deported, processed out, deported, and the like. But because you have these liberals in these states making themselves sanctuary states, which is, I honestly don't know how that's constitutional. They We've had to essentially make ICE into this like private army, basically. And the liberals cry about it too. They're like, "Well, why is ICE getting like the same budget as the Marine Corps?" Well, because you're not letting the cops do their job and calling them to to get these illegal aliens out of your state. So therefore, we have to make ICE into like a giant paramilitary police force to do it for you. All this could have been avoided if you just follow the rules. But I've noticed that these liberal politicians don't really understand consequences to their actions. Same thing happened with the frickin' nuclear option under Harry Reid, where they confirmed people or passed a bill under Obama, and then Mitch McConnell, and like the only good thing he ever did was like, you will regret this, and then we got freaking Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Barrett on the Supreme Court, um, with a simple majority. But yeah, again, it's because they don't understand the that there's secondary consequences to their actions down the line. But yes, this is good. If you see here, uh, this is 125. This is this is like a little over a year increase from 144 agreements to 87G agreements to almost 2,000. That's pretty good progress, and that'll probably increase even more over the next year. Because once you get a large number like this, it's easier to keep going up. Let's go to these. Oh, this isn't Prowler, but this is our own nation. He's a pretty good guy too. I'm not following him. I don't know why, but I'll follow him. Interior ICE arrests have increased 5 times, street arrests up 11 times, arrests in detention up 4 times, and voluntary departures are up 28 times. This is on top of the 90% asylum denial and removal orders across the country. Is this the Cato Institute graphs? I just want to make sure it is. I think it is, because I'm pretty sure I also. No, it's not the same graph. Okay. So again, as you can see, ICE arrests resulting in detention more than quadrupled. July 2024, it was under 2,000 weekly arrests, and 2026, the high was over almost, if we're doing three, over 9,000, although it has dropped a little bit, but it's going back up. I don't know what the dip here was for. Maybe it was, yeah, I don't know what happened in, is that January? December. Well, something happened there, and it like went really far down. But yeah, I mean, but the nature of the job, it fluctuates. But as long as that line keeps trending upward, that's good. Interior deportations by ICE increased by 5 times since 2024. That's a pretty good number. From under, I'm assuming that's 1,000. This line right here, because you have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, to under 1,000 to over 6,000. Including the times when Renee Good and Alex Pretty were killed by CBP and ICE. Again, good. So yes, there is an improvement. This is Biden. There is a clear improvement here under Trump, because this is the dividing line, January 2025. Yep. Figure 3, transfers from jails and prison doubled and street arrests tripled by 11 times. Blue line, custodial arrests, transfers from jail or prison. Yellow line, street arrests. Look at this. It's like the same dang line each time. Like you just, yeah, there'll be a little bit of an increase under Biden, but then it'll just like stagnate. Like there's it's like those heart monitors in hospitals. There's like beep 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 beep. That's literally what's going on in each of these graphs here. Biden just stagnates and then goes down and then goes back to that under 1,000 number straight line again. But then look again, you see Trump 2 comes along in January 2025, everything shoots up. Voluntary departures have also increased. Again, like look at this, little over zero, which was maybe I'll give, like, say this is 500, maybe less than 100 people under Biden every month. But then you look at Trump 2 and skyrockets to over 2,000 people. So there's clearly a lot of progress going on here that I don't. Again, I get the criticism of Trump right now, but the graphs are saying a few things different than what the influencers are saying. Unless the argument is that they're making all these things up, that these graphs are wrong, and that they're making all these things up, to which I haven't seen proof of that being the case. If that's their argument, then fine. But that doesn't really work on me because I'm just too. I need to see data. I need to see results, and if you don't have any numbers or charts to show me, I can't really take what you're saying seriously. If I'm seeing something different from what is being told, I can't take it seriously. So anyway, here's another thing. President Trump's State Department, with other agencies, has aligned the whole admin onto immigration, the forefront of his foreign policy being deportation diplomacy. So far, nearly 30 countries, a third of which are in Africa, have agreed to take excess deportations from America. The president wants third countries to take migrants who can't be sent back home. To get that, almost everything is up for negotiation. Everyone is aligned. The difference is that they're all on the same page now, Aline said. Every single cabinet agency knows that immigration and the deportation agenda is top priority. Good. A big problem in the first term was that not everybody was on the same page. The policy of sending immigrants to so-called third countries, especially typically when people are barred or protected from being sent back to their home countries or their home countries are not accepting people from the US, has been a major and controversial departure from previous administrations. Okay, well here's the issue. If someone's here illegally and their home country says we don't want them, well we can't just keep them in our country. That's not a ticket to citizenship here. The Trump administration is utilizing all lawful options to carry out the largest deportation in history, just as President Trump promised, the statement said. And again, while I would like more progress to be made, uh, anybody who was serious knew this was not going to be an instant deal. These things take time, and I think we are seeing an increase and a gradual increase, and everything is good. Let's go up a little bit. And on top of deportations, Trump has made considerable headway in unleashing law enforcement in cities. Within months, his task forces net 7K plus arrests in Memphis, 11K in DC, and over 600 people were hit with charges for impeding ICE and migrant arrest police. Climbed 5 times. Good, very good. This is what we need. I just read those here. ICE's 287G program. When former President Joe Biden was in office, an average of 261 monthly arrests occurred. The program during the last year of his presidency. During Trump's tenure, the average has increased fivefold to 1,422 a month. Good. Again, way lower than what we need, but the progress is getting there. Trump administration positions Tennessee Memphis Safe Task Forces as models for national security. Since operations began in 2025, the task force has reported 7,000 arrests, including 44 homicide arrests, 94 sexual offenses, 812 drug-related arrests, and more than 6,000 arrests related to guns. Good. Great. We love that. And um, also, I do recall there being something about a rapid response force from the National Guard that was meant to be activated or ready to activate by this month. I wonder how that's going. I haven't really seen anything much about it, but I'm pretty sure it's being prepared or is already prepared. I'll look into that. President Trump's DC Crime Task Force has now made over 10,000 arrests since launch. Bureau said that the president's law enforcement surge at DC last summer merited 11,000 criminal cases and violent crime has dropped. Good. We need DC safe. It's stupid how our capital city was had to go through this for so long. Report says hundreds charged with impeding feds. A Reuters review of federal court records found that the Trump administration has prosecuted at least 655 people under that charge since across the U.S. since a series of city-focused immigration crackdowns began last summer. That's more than double the prosecutions during the same period of 2024 through 2025. Good. And I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot more of these arrests because Did you see what was going on in Los Angeles when Trump sent the National Guard down there? Or something like there was like a couple thousand people just like trying to impede everything. So we're going to need a couple thousand arrests, but so far this is good. Keep doing it. Is this the same? Okay, this is the same. This is this 287G. I had that twice. Okay, now here's the Cato chart. Cato is a libertarian think tank, by the way. Cato analysis on the early phase of Trump's immigration crackdowns, refugees down 90%, permanent immigrants down 50% or more, H-1Bs negative 25%, negative 80% for new applicants, students down 40%. Trump not only has a net outflow of illegals, but increasingly narrow entry for legal migrants. Good. Let's look at the chart, shall we? Legal entries by asylum seekers at US-Mexico legal entry points are down by 99%. So this is January 18. Now this is Trump's first term, by the way. And so let's see what it says there. Asylum seekers in red, total admissibles by blue. So already it was coming into Obama, a steep fall from Obama, I mean. And it was a little bit. I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. Oh, I am. Okay, I am reading this correctly. Okay, I was like, what the heck's going on here? So this is Biden. Look at this. Trump got it down. I'm assuming this is due to COVID a lot too in 2020 since no one was traveling. But Trump got it down this far, and then look, freaking Biden just like goes up to over 50K, and then Trump comes back in office, drops like a rock down. Okay, so that's why I was like, what is this? And I guess we're gonna see the same thing here. Trump has likely cut illegal permanent immigrant visas by issuing by about half. Okay, Obama Trump first term, it was a little high, went down in 2020, I guess again because of COVID, went back up in 2021, and then Biden just kept going up, and then Trump comes back in and it goes down. And this is, I guess, where we were before when they were doing this research. And in both terms, Trump slashed refugee admissions by 90%. Okay, here's Obama again, 10K. Then you had January 18, and then okay, as soon as Trump got into office, they dropped, went even further down, and then Biden goes into office, and then Trump comes back, pew, and we're almost to not even 1,000 people here in 26. And then you also had his 100 grand fee has likely cut H-1B visas by about 25%. And what's this here? I'm not seeing a key for this one. 100K fee imposed. 2025 estimate 2024. Okay. So this is the blue line is Biden, and this was Biden's 2024 high. And the yellow line is Donald Trump, and then this is when he imposed the fee. And it seems like it's come up a little bit, but I don't know. This is 2025 estimated. Okay, this is the estimated, but this is when the fee was imposed. Okay. Okay, so it's still going, but it's down. Okay, I see what it's saying. Okay, yes. But it's down by a significant amount. I would like to see this line trend downward in the future, though. I see it trending upward. I'd like to see it trend down. So we can do a bit more in H1B. And lastly, because I'm almost at 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I've been talking. I didn't realize I was talking for long. Trump's 2027 budget requests a huge ICE detention boost again and funding for domestic counter-terror ops against anti-Christian, anti-American, pro-migration groups and individuals. Both would reinforce mass deportations and support the federal Antifa crackdown. Good. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is funded at $10 billion, maintaining 2026 level. The base request includes $2.2 billion to sustain 41,500 immigration detention beds. Separately, WFTC provided $75 billion for ICE to activate up to 100,000 single adult detention beds and 30,000 family unit beds as part of expanded enforcement operations. Good. We need more logistics. Logistics helps run everything. If you don't have logistics, you don't have an operation. President Trump's budget request to Congress contains the largest counterterrorism spending increase in years, and buried inside it is a new FBI-led center dedicated to proactively hunting Americans the government classified as so-called domestic terrorists. Good, they should be, and these people include anti-Americans, anti-capitalists, anti-Christianity, people supporting the overthrow of the U.S. government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. Good. Because, honestly, these people have been running around for too long. And people might be like, well, can't this be easily turned on you? And I say, yes, it could. But, if it's going to be turned on us anyways. So why not use it now? Like, people don't understand. Like, when Joe Biden came in, a bunch of conservatives, of right-wingers, nationalists, were hunted down and imprisoned. There was an old man in Utah that was like shot in the head by, I don't know if it was FBI, Secret Service, or what, because he had posted something that could have been seen as inflammatory. I think it was about, if I see Joe Biden, I'm going to assassinate him, which you shouldn't say, mind you. You shouldn't say that online. You shouldn't say that at all. I did not believe that Joe Biden should have been assassinated. He's the president of the United States, and as much as I didn't like him, he was the president, and that was that. But I think the reaction to what had happened was a bit over the top. I think that he was in his 90s. He wasn't really mobile, and they came in and they shot him dead because of that post. Again, he shouldn't have posted it. He shouldn't have said it. But it's just an example of some of our guys got shot for saying words. And you also had Charlie Kirk. He got killed. Why? Because he said stuff that someone else didn't like. And you have people on the other side of the aisle who cheer this on. Even if they don't say it outright, even if they don't say, oh, I agree with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or I agree with the assassination attempts against Donald Trump, they're secretly thinking it. I see tons of posts. I don't have them bookmarked, but I see tons of people who say that, dang, I wish the what was that bloke's name? Whoever that was at the Butler rally. I wish that guy didn't miss. I see people say that all the time. And it's just there needs to be a message sent that says, if you cheer this stuff on, if you partake in this violent activity against the American people, that you are going to be hunted down, you're going to be arrested, and you're going to be put in jail for a very long period of time. And if you act out on your impulses, maybe you'll face the death penalty, depending on what you did. But yes, I'm glad that we are finally getting domestic counterterrorism in this country, because for far too long, these people have been able to run rampant and just spew their bile all over the place. But I mean, that's a topic for another video. Bottom line is, I'm seeing good numbers on immigration. I'm seeing good trends. I'm seeing good graphs, good deals, good law enforcement cooperation, and I'm hoping that it trends upward. I mean, we have to remain vigilant because I did see that one story, not story. This is a vote in the House of Representatives where a few Republicans crossed party lines to keep temporary protective status for Haitians. And this is why I keep saying the Republican Party is not your friend in regards to this issue. You have Republicans who are, but the party as a whole is not a monolith, and you have people who are in there for their donors and nobody else. So there needs to be primaries against these people who voted yes on these, and you do not owe them your loyalty. You do not owe the Republican Party your loyalty until they get their stuff figured out. I'm not saying for a Democrat in the midterm, but until the Republican Party gets their stuff figured out, until they get on the same page as the president who wants these mass deportations, until they can pass stuff like the SAVE Act with their majority that we elected them to do to get this stuff done, they need to know that they need to know that they were voted in for this purpose and that they can be removed via primary. Because that's what it's going to take. Unfortunately, as it is, you would have thought that having like 3 elections worth of this stuff, where the order of the day was mass deportations, that these Republican politicians would at least keep to themselves when they didn't agree with with the agenda. Like, okay, I personally disagree with it, but I'm gonna vote party line. Democrats have no issue doing this. Democrats have no issue voting party line on everything that passes their dang committee, even if they're in like let's say the Democratic Socialist ring, because at the end of the day, the entire left coalition has one goal, and that is to degrade the American republic and the American culture and civilization. And so anything and everything is fine as long as it attains to that end. But we don't have that in the Republican Party. They are not a monolith. They have people who agree with liberals in economics, and this is an example. But anyway, this has gone on. This is gonna probably one of my longest videos yet at 32 minutes. I'm going to let you all go now, and I hope that this has been a little bit enlightening. Follow Prowler. He's very good at keeping this information, and I'm sure he'd be the first to say if when there was something wrong. But anyways, I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe. Please like, subscribe, comment. Check out my Substack, my X count, all those places. And have a good night, everybody. Bye bye.